Do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Good evening, everybody who's joining in, wherever you may be. We're glad to have you. Now, first of all, I want to welcome everybody as we go into this Easter week and say, praise the Lord. This is the time of the year that I get very excited about my faith, and I think this is just the most important.
So Good Friday's coming.
Good Friday and Easter, or Resurrection Sunday.
Resurrection Sunday.
So we're very excited about that. So I want to take a moment to give a shout out about this shirt, Full Throttle Experience. This is a shirt that was given to me by Delatoro McNeil II. He's our other son, the one we did not bear. He's not our blood son, but he's our adopted son. He came to me 20 some years ago when I was in Tampa, Florida, and said, I want to do what you do. And I told him what to do to become a speaker, and I mentored him. And last summer, he was inducted into Speaker Hall of Fame. He's in the $1 Million Speakers group, and he's been a best-selling author and been on the Today Show. He's the best. The Today Show loves him. Anyway, he is the founder of the Full Throttle Experience. He's a motorcycle guy as well. But I wanted to wear it to celebrate and thank him over and over again for him giving us the title for the book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. We were going to call it the Jolley Marriage. What were we going to say? Jolley Marriage. Something. Yeah. And whatever it was, he said, I got a better idea for you. I said, okay, he called us and he said, Mom and Dad. I said, what you got? He said, I got a great idea for you. I said, what is it? Make love, make money, make it last. I said, bingo, that's the name of the book. And so now we want to thank him publicly for his wise ideas. He's a brilliant guy. Go to Delatoro, just Google Delatoro, Delatoro. He's one of the most powerful motivational speakers on the planet, and I highly recommend you check him out. So thank you, Delatoro. I'm wearing your shirt, Full Throttle Experience, to thank you. That's where I wanted to start, and then I want to talk about today's topic area for those who are joining us about this, who have heard the promos. Hopefully you're all following us on social media and you're getting all of our updates.
And you can chime in with your ideas too.
Yes. So the topic is one that was brought to Dee's attention.
Drunk spouse. It's probably a better one, but
yeah, well, my spouse is an alcoholic.
That sounds nicer.
Yeah, alcoholic, and it's ruining our marriage. What do I do?
So the background.
Okay.
They were childhood
sweethearts.
High school sweethearts.
Okay.
So they've been together a long time. I'm like, they've been together for 50 years? That's a long time. My aunt and uncle have been married for 73 years. I have to bring that up. So this past weekend, we went to visit my aunt, who is 93.
93. She's 93. He's 92 and a half.
He's 92 and a half. They've been married for 73 years.
Wow.
That's as long as my brother is old.
Yes.
73 years.
Yes.
And happily married.
Yes.
He said that's another story. So he is the oldest Black farmer.
He won the award for oldest
US.
Black farmer in the U.S. That's right.
And he's still
raising
cows.
And working like he's in his 40s.
So they went on
I went on the tractor with him.
And then take hay to the cows.
He said, I'm going to take hay to the cows. I said, I got to go see this. And he said, get up on the tractor. And he 93, almost 93, takes to go get the tractor to get the big old bale of hay, takes it out and opens these big heavy fences. He gets off the tractor. He opens a fence. He goes a little further, opens another fence. These are big, heavy fences. And then he's
not as tall as me.
No. And then he drops the hay, and all the cows come from all over 50 cows, Black Angus cows. And then He backs the tractor up, turns the tractor around, tracks it up, to close the first fence and chains it up. Then goes the second fence, chains it up. And then we asked him about, well, what's all this? How do you heat the house? He said, with wood. And how do you get the wood? He said, I chop it down.
Chop down the trees.
You chop down the trees? Yeah. At 93.
So that's an aside.
Yeah.
So this couple has been together for 50 years.
50 years.
So they're just really just babies. That was the point I was trying to make there. And she said the sex life was great up until 5 years ago.
Mm.
So 5 years ago, now bear in mind, she says he's always been a person who drank.
Okay.
But 5 years ago, he retired and it got worse. And it's been a drain, lost family and friends as a result of his drinking. So he's retired, he sits in front of television and he drinks.
Mm.
And her father passed away last year and he was not sympathetic.
Wow.
So it's probably the straw that broke the camel's back. And she discovered that she has an illness.
Mm.
So
she didn't say what the illness was.
No. So as a result, she's like, I need to reevaluate my life. And this is miserable. And I want to travel while I am able. And do I be miserable with him or single and happy without him?
Mm.
What should I do?
Mm. You got some answers?
I thought of some answers.
I have my own answers.
Okay, you want to hear mine?
I'll go with yours first.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, y'all can chime in with whatever.
Here's what I said. Continue the counseling. Because she's going to counseling, he won't go to counseling. So the counseling seems to be helping her, at least having somebody to talk to, even though she's talking to her friends and the like too. So I said counseling to make you feel better and to have someone to talk to. And then I said, you should seek legal advice. And he said, well, we're for couples staying together. Now, he's drunk, making her life miserable. Seek legal advice for a couple of reasons. To find out what does it really take to live happily apart. Is there enough money to do that? What kind of trauma do you go through with a separation and divorce? And what would that do to whatever is left of the love that they once had? I don't know. But I think legal counsel is also necessary. And then she wants to travel. What's preventing her, since he watches TV all the time, what's preventing her from planning a trip by herself to get a feel for, if he won't go, what's preventing her from going? She doesn't say that he won't let her go. Why can't she travel and see what it's like to travel alone and then come back home to him? And then there's something called Al-Anon for families of people who are alcoholics and commiserate, get ideas from how they handle an alcoholic spouse. And maybe there are options for being together or how to deal with a difficult alcoholic spouse that she might not have thought of. And I certainly have no clue since I don't have an alcoholic spouse.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts.
Okay. So let me give you my take on this. First, and maybe the woman is watching. I'm sorry that you're dealing with this. I know it's hard. I know from personal experience that it's hard because my father was an alcoholic. Okay. He wasn't everyday drunk, but he would drink on these splurges. Every Friday, he and his buddies would sit around our dining room table, order liquor, and they drink and laugh and get drunk.
Order liquor.
They'd order liquor from J and B. I'll never forget. They bring it down, and the man would drive a bicycle, and it had a cart, a cart in the top of the bicycle, and he put the big old bags of liquor in it, and they bring it in every Friday, and then Friday night it was bad.
So why were they drinking? That was the other thing. With
Well, let
counseling,
me
is
go
that
back.
they're
Let me
not-
finish that first. So my father was a drinker, and he was an alcoholic. And why did he drink? He told us when he was sober that his father, or who really was his grandfather who raised him, he called him his father. He said, my father disciplined me on bad stuff when I would tell a lie or I'd steal or whatever. And I don't do that. And he said, I didn't do it anymore. He said, I wish he would have done 2 more spankings when I was growing up. One, when I started smoking at the age of 12 or 13, and when I started drinking. He said, I wish my father had given me spankings and stopped me there, because those 2 things had a profound impact on his life. My father was a very, very bright man, very smart, went to Brown University, one of the first African Americans in journalism. He was one of the first African American White House correspondents. His issue was
frustration,
but it was accelerated. Now he would drink, I guess, socially, since he started early in his teens, but he was so frustrated. I remember him telling me how he would have to go south to do stories during the time of segregation, and he'd come with a very expensive hat and an overcoat, a cashmere overcoat with a suit and tie, and he might have a couple $1,000s worth of clothing on, and still he got off the train, and some white guy with overalls would say, "Hey boy." He said it would drive him, and he was in their area. That was how they operated. He had to when he got to DC on the train from Philadelphia where he was living, he'd have to change cars to the back of the train. He said it burned him up. And
he'd have to change cars to the back of the train when he got to DC?
When he got past DC, like Richmond.
Oh.
When he got past DC to Richmond, he'd have to change. And he said it was frustration. And he said he hated it. And as a result of that, he smoked more and he drank more. Now, both of those things were destructive physically.
So it dulled
the pain,
at least temporarily.
That's right. And so he would tell us about this. And so that was why you asked the question, why? Frustration levels, studies show that African-American doctors, lawyers, and engineers, and architects, and professionals died 10 to 15 years sooner than their counterparts who were white because of the level of stress and anxiety and frustration. Now, my father, he accelerated his by smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day until he had lung cancer in 1964. And back then, when you had lung cancer, they didn't do chemotherapy. They just went in, operated, and took out your lung. So he had 1 lung. So he went from 2 packs to 1 pack. Good God Almighty! And so that was, and then he had the drinking.
So what you're saying is in reference to the lady who wrote
this. I don't know his cause.
Perhaps
he has an issue.
There is some level of frustration.
Maybe frustration, maybe a disease. Alcoholism is a disease. We know that. Just people say it was just a choice. No, it's a disease. And studies show that children of alcoholics have a higher propensity to repeat. That's why I don't drink. I don't drink anything. I don't drink anything but soft drink,
Cola,
Diet Pepsi, and ginger ale, cranberry juice, and lemonade and sparkling water. That's it. That's it. And so I don't drink. And my brother did not drink. He's passed on, but he did not drink. Because we saw the impact. Now, that's it. Going back to this situation. My mother, when my dad would have these drinking binges, sometimes I would get so upset. And I'd say to my mother, I remember saying to my mama, why don't you leave him? I'm maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 years old.
Wow.
Why don't you leave him? You need to leave him. You need, and mama said, no. Said he's a great guy. He just has this issue, and I can live with that. And then she did. She lived with it. My mother was very easygoing, very patient. And she just lived with it. And he wasn't violent.
He wasn't violent
He was
to
not.
her.
No, he was never violent.
He didn't call her out of her name. Or
No,
anything?
he wasn't violent. He was just like what we would call pissy drunk. Okay, and so he'd slur his words and so forth, but he was never violent. And so, so I would say you should leave him, but she didn't, because she really loved him, and that's one. Second story, I have a relative.
Well, did they do stuff together? This, in this.
Well, when he
particular
was
case?
not drinking, they did stuff together. But you know, back then, what does that mean to do stuff together?
Did they travel together?
No, but that was because he was working, doing newspaper stories. He was the editor of the NMPA, the national editor. So every morning we get the mail truck would come with a big crate of mail that he would then open them up, and he'd edit stories, he'd type them out, and he'd send it to the press. I don't know.
How did he send it?
I don't know how he sent it. Maybe a messenger. I don't know how. Or maybe he sent it by mail. I don't know all the details. But he got a big thing. He'd edit it. Maybe he called it in. It wasn't computers. I don't know what he did. But
we have his typewriter.
We have his typewriter. His Underwood typewriter.
Uh-huh.
Now, doing stuff together, we would maybe go out for Chinese food. He loved Chinese food.
Mm-hmm.
So we might go out to Chinese food every couple of weeks or so. He loved Jewish food, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. He loved to go to the Jewish market up on Georgia Avenue and get, I can't think of the name of the Jewish dish. He loved that. So Jewish food, Chinese food, he loved that. Now, we would go as a family and get meals sometimes. But he did all the
church together?
He wouldn't go to church, because his father was a pastor, but that wasn't the issue. His issue was he covered part as a newspaper man, Father Divine, Daddy Grace, and all of those folks.
Big successful
preachers who they had Cadillacs and Rolls Royces, and the people had nothing. He always felt they were crooks. He would say they were crooks. And so he wasn't high on church. Now he was high on God. That's very interesting. He would tell us, you got to know the Lord's Prayer. You got to know
the Beatitudes.
And you got to know the 23rd Psalm. And he would pray with us. He just wouldn't go to church with us. Mama would go to church. We went to church with Mama every Sunday, but he wouldn't. Now, what else? He didn't particularly travel with us, because we traveled a lot. Because Mama really loved to travel. Every other weekend, we go to either Philadelphia or we go to Charlottesville to visit her relatives. There was some drama there between my father and my grandmother. I don't know what it was, but there was some drama. I don't know what it was, but there was always a little friction there. Now, I'm getting all in. I want to get to the second story about Mama didn't leave Daddy. She was comfortable. She was
with
patient.
The weekend drinking.
He was great during the week. He did all the cooking during the week.
Your father was a cook. What happened to you?
I didn't pick that up. I didn't pick that gift up.
Your father, I didn't know that.
He did most of the cooking for dinner.
Really?
Unless it was weekend when Mama would cook, on the weekends. Okay, next, I have another relative who was an alcoholic. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And his wife did not leave him.
Mm.
And he was really bad.
Was he mean to his wife?
Not mean, but when he would drink, he had an edge to him. Okay?
Ugly.
Yeah, he was drinking all the time. He was always drinking. Now he was always drinking. Every time you saw him, he was drunk. She did not leave him. She prayed for him. Woo! I said something there. She prayed for him. One day, he was smoking and drinking. He used to get pulled over all the time for drunk driving. He had more drunk driving than anybody I know.
Did he go to jail?
Yes. He went to jail for a short time. I mean, they put you away for a weekend or a few days. One day, he woke up and said, no more. And from that day to this, he has never drank or smoked. And he's in his 90s now.
That's true.
Okay. So she didn't leave him.
She didn't leave him.
And
so I'm leaning towards, so he wasn't, in either case was there violence.
No.
In either case was there abuse, verbal abuse or physical abuse.
No. Neither one was there verbal abuse or physical. Just drunk. A little edgy, may say things that weren't, politically correct. Because what did my son say? A drunk mouth
speaks the heart.
Speaks a sober mind or something like that. Or sober heart or something. So the answer to the lady, if you're listening, ma'am, pray for your husband. Pray for him. I recommend, as Dee said, you get counseling. You continue to get counseling. See if you can get him to get some counseling. I know she said he wouldn't, but maybe keep praying that there's somebody who can encourage him to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. It is a sickness. Terrence said it's sickness. That's what Terrence, I said that earlier. It's a disease. It's an illness. It's a sickness. But it's curable. I've seen people cured from it. I have family members who were alcoholic, who are no longer alcoholic, who have made the commitment to go to Alcoholics Anonymous, who have made a commitment to go to rehab. He said that's what happened to his father. Okay. So this is not, we used to see it a lot. And again, it goes back to, I believe, that frustration, the frustration with racism, the frustration with being oppressed. It's hard when you got the gifts and the skills.
So it's emotional as well.
Now I'm not making that as an excuse. I'm just saying that's the reason. I don't want to make any excuses for it because I made a decision not to drink. My brother made a decision not to drink. I tell my children, don't drink. It's just whatever it is that drives it to it. You have to make some tough decisions in this thing called life. And so I made the decision not to drink. But I do want to say to the lady, you get counseling. I do agree with you that she should take her trip on her own. If he doesn't want to go, ma'am, you go. Go on your trip.
And it might be, I'm just saying, a release for her.
Yeah, but pray for him and let him know that this is, go back to our 4 F's. Be friendly, be frank about how this is making you feel, be fair, and be focused. Hopefully he has a sober moment somewhere and say, be friendly. Don't go in mad. Be frank. When you're drinking, this is how that makes me feel. Be fair. Why do you do it? And he might have a reason. Like Terrence is saying,
I'm sure there's a reason why.
Terrence said his father lost his son early. Okay. And so whatever the reason, listen. To be friendly, be frank about what, be fair, listen, and be focused on a win-win. That's my recommendation. I've seen him change, and the prayer of the righteous availeth much. Okay?
Amen.
All right. All right, you have a few last things to talk about. Women's History Month. Go ahead.
One more thing is this is the last week for Women's History Month, but really Women's History is ongoing all the time.
Okay, I'm
Just
with that.
you know, just because women make it happen,
What do you have in your office?
and we
Something women don't make history?
oh, what did I say? There's a side that
The
says
sign in your office.
quiet women don't make history.
Something
to
that
effect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Mhm.
Women's History Month. For those who don't know, I did an interview on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. It's gone viral.
Aunt Dolores.
Aunt Dolores. Look on my social media. It's last count 160,000 views on TikTok. And
well, quickly, she's 96.
96. Bought her home when she was 23. Had to buy it as a Black woman by getting her broker to tell the people at settlement that her husband's buying it for her in her name. He put up the money.
Women could not buy.
And that was 70 years ago when she bought this home. 70 years ago. She was 23. She's now 96, 73 years ago. She's now 96, and she's gorgeous. She's beautiful. And
feisty.
She's feisty and tells it like it is. You have to see this video. People around the globe have thought of sharing it. Go watch it. And she was the first African American to move into this very exclusive area of Washington, D.C. Aunt Dolores. Go check it out. That's first. Second,
Good Friday.
Good Friday is coming up this Friday.
And what does that mean we're going to do?
We're going to go to Good Friday, 7 last words in the afternoon. And that night, we're going to go to the First Baptist Church of Glenarden in Washington, D.C., our home church, where we're going to see.
You can play Glory to Glory, which is free.
Free, live, and online. So if you go to fbcglenarden.org, you can watch it at 7 o'clock on Friday. It's a Broadway style production, and it's fantastic. Really? We highly recommend, if you want to be inspired and encouraged, uplifted, watch this Friday night at 7 o'clock for fbcglenarden.org for Glory to Glory.
And then Sunday services. So we're going to be at Sunday. 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. service.
Yeah, because we'll go to 6 a.m. for service, and at 8 a.m. we'll be there to help, whatever help they need. Okay?
That's it.
And then we'll go get some food with my sweetie pie. She my sweetie pie, folks.
We're going to hang out.
Oh, I got to give a shout out to all my new friends, my family now in Salt Lake City, Utah, at Win Brands, the Costa Vida restaurant chain. Oh my gosh. I had the best time in Salt Lake City last week. I spoke for their annual convention, and they could not have been nicer, treated me nicer. All the people, everyone was just fantastic, phenomenal. And the food at the Costa Vida restaurant was awesome. If you ever see a Costa Vida restaurant, they have some in Texas, they have some, many in Utah, they have them in California, they have them in Calgary, I believe they said, in Canada, and they have them as far away as Nashville. Awesome. Fresh mix. Awesome. So I want to shout out Sean Collins, Dave Redder, their wives, and all the team, and special to my friend Alan, who picked me up.
He came back bearing gifts.
Oh, I brought lots of gifts. I mean,
and goodies. Oh my goodness!
Oh, they were so kind and so nice and so gracious.
Breads,
everything,
sweets, popcorn,
everything. They could not have been nicer to me. I want to thank you, and I can't wait to come back to speak for another Win Brands event and for Costa Vida. Okay, let's see. That's gave them a shout out. Oh, for those people who need help, and a lot of folks who are watching need help with their relationships. We have a series that we did last year. It's 5 parts. It's called the Relationship Repair Series. Go get that. It's a great series. You can purchase it on jollymarriage.com/events. jollymarriage.com/events. The areas there are 5 one-hour sessions on communication, finances, sex, blended family, and
Right.
family.
Did you
Money.
say
I said
money?
finances, didn't I?
Mm.
Okay, because you know the three things that break up marriages are sex, money, and communication. So we dealt with those first, then family, and then blended family. And then there's a bonus session, the 11 biggest mistakes that people make in relationships and how to fix them. Okay, so go check it out. It'll bless you and it'll help you. And then if you don't have the marriage book, get 2 copies when you get it. Two copies, one for each of you. Read it together and talk about it at the end of each chapter, and it will grow you. Let's see what Terrence is saying. Stop drinking, buy the book. Stop arguing and buy the book. Stop procrastinating and buy the Jolley marriage book. Thank you, Terrence. You are our biggest promoter. You and the Kazaras, they just got back from Iceland and Germany and showed the importance of seeking first to understand, then to be understood. Wow.
Amen.
Thank y'all for joining us. Have a
Thank
great
you.
Easter week. God bless you all. He is risen.
He is risen indeed.
He is risen indeed. We appreciate you. We're going out with this, and we send love to all our family members and all our friends, wherever they may be. Gladys Pemberton, we know you're watching. Love to you and Ron. We always got to give her a shout out because they were our models when they got married. Okay, here we go. All right, going out on my song from my my one-man show. It's coming back. One show, April 27th. One show, April 27th. Go to thecomebackshow.com. Thecomebackshow.com. Get your tickets now because it's going to sell out. Here we go.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.